Well, there is one niche that has been outperforming the rest of the market, and that's none other than artificial intelligence, something that this channel has been god dang pounding on for the last 3 months. Well, you might be asking, so what can we buy that's not already super overvalued? Well, maybe not overvalued, but over $1 billion. You can buy Virtual's protocol, but very limited upside to what there is currently brewing in the AI agent sector. And so on today's show, I'm going to be giving you some AI crypto alpha. And so if you want to make some money, and also if you want to know how to buy the Genesis token launches on Virtual's protocol, I'll be talking about that and which one I will be personally participating in. So make sure to stay tuned. We're also going to talk a little bit about the markets, of course, and why the numbers came out for GDP and everyone's panicking, causing a sell-off in the markets. So is 100K by Friday still on the table? We'll have that conversation. Also, some news from Trump, some RWA news, and a lot more. On today's episode of SINCITY Crypto, let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to SINCITY Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content where we take old, boring, stale information, repackage it all up in a fun, sexy way. You know, the day has come where the market's sold off, but yet Bitcoin's holding strong. I know there's a little pullback. We went from 95 to 94, but I don't know, man. I figure with some macro news and macroeconomics coming in negative, Donald Trump saying it's Biden's fault, and Bitcoin's holding strong, man. Are you surprised?
Just got some really good news. Sorry,
What you got?
Can't share.
Okay.
But it involves the Bitcoin conference.
Oh, nice.
Which, by the way, tickets go up on Friday. If you haven't bought your tickets, buy your damn tickets, right? We always talk about, oh, I love SINCITY Crypto. I watch you guys all the time. Here is your chance to tell your wife, your husband, your mom, your kids, I have to go to Vegas. Why, honey? Are you going to gamble? No, I'm going for business. And then you come here, you visit our studio, you hang out. If you want to support the channel, you want to save 10%, use the link in the description of the video.
Yeah.
We're less than a month away.
Yeah, good luck explaining to the fam bam you're going to Vegas for anything other than a conference.
A conference. Thank you.
Exactly. So, you know.
You can't say I'm going to the AVN convention, right?
And you can tell your wife or husband, but look here, you know, I'm going to go to a conference and become that much more educated in crypto.
Going for education.
It's going to return more than I pay. You know, you buy the ticket and then you end up making more money from the alpha. And hey, you know, it's an investment.
Yeah.
You can also invest in us by using our code and supporting the channel. That also helps.
Also, Rocco will give you a back rub for 30 seconds. Right, Rocco?
Sure.
He said yes. See?
Yes.
See how easy that was, Robin? Not have to go back and forth for 10 minutes. Okay, let's talk about what's going on in the markets today. You might be wondering, well, we're on a good streak. Bitcoin was going up and all the alts were rallying. Ooh, what's going on? Well, GDP numbers came out. Preliminary U.S. Q1 2025 gross domestic product growth comes in at a minus 0.3%, which is below expectations of plus 0.3%. This marks the lowest and first negative GDP reading since Q2 of 2022. So 3 solid years. GDP contraction in the United States has begun. And of course, with this, the talks, the rumors, the murmurs, the whispers of a U.S. recession. I think it's up to 74% now. Why not 75%? Let's just 75% chance of recession in the United States of America. And so investors are fleeing. They're scared. And take a look at this S&P this morning. Minus 2% on the day as markets price in higher odds of recession following Q1 GDP numbers. And so markets currently looks like they've reversed a little bit as the S&P is now only down 0.68%. Dow is pretty much flat, down a little more than 0.25%, but the NASDAQ still down 1%, and the VIX is up 4.63%. And if you're blaming Trump, hold still, because Trump just put this on his Truth Social. This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. He did not take over until January 20th, and all the other things he says that I'm not going to read. Robin,
you know, you could, you can make an argument for tariffs. You know, in the long term, it's a net positive. I guess.
Do you agree with Trump that this is not his?
And so, like, on one hand, you can easily make a case for the benefits of tariffs, or why you would use them, or hey, let's incentivize companies to move here, use it as a tool of threat, to get your way, a negotiation tool, whatever you want to use. But yeah, you can't blame the pullback on the stock market on the former president, because it's literally your fault, bro. 100%. It's Donald Trump is the reason the market went down. Now you can say, hey, we're gonna pull the Band-Aid off. You're gonna bleed a little bit, but in the long term, this is needed. Sure, you can. I'd rather hear that argument, right? Like, hey, look, I know the stock market went down, but we're working here. We're making progress. We're moving manufacturing from overseas to here in the U.S. It's gonna be a long-term beneficial, great jobs. But yeah, you know what? It's gonna be a little price shock here in a little scare in the beginning, and that's hold steady, right? But instead, he's like, nah, ain't my fault. It's Biden's fault. That's the reason the market's down. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, dude. Like, hey, but if you would have just stayed the course, not put any tariffs, the S&P 500 indices would have kept growing in the same way that they were growing prior to him getting in office. What was the S&P 500 looking like prior to inauguration day? Right, it was so before he took the helm, it's you can see that. Yeah, what was inauguration day? It was like January.
I agree with you. I don't think
January
he's pointing finger at Biden, because he didn't even know if it was up or down the market.
Yeah, I thought he didn't pay attention to the market.
Didn't even know.
So, Robin, everything to the left of the vertical line here is before Trump. So right here. Look at that. Up and to the right. And then here, what? Down.
Yeah, you gotta bite the bullet on that one. But I mean, justify it, explain what it is. Like, look, there will be a short-term pullback, putting in tariffs, but there's a long-term benefit, and we'll see a larger rebound than we would have had with the slow continuation of slow, steady growth in the S&P 500 that you typically see. Hey, explain it how it is, because this is your fault, the pullback, dear Donald Trump. And I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that tariffs aren't needed. I think that there are benefits and negatives to everything, particularly tariffs. I think is in that same category. There are a lot of positives that can come out of it. And at the same time, there's a lot of short-term negative, especially price action, supply squeeze, things of that nature. So,
yeah.
Anyways, what's this mean for crypto?
You still think 100K by Friday there, Robbo? Let's take a peek at a Bitcoin chart here before you answer. Okay, so, say whatever you want. Bitcoin at 94.2.
I still think maybe not by Friday, but I still am telling you, dude, this thing's gonna turn around and rally. It's not a giant effect that we had a slightly lower GDP, right? It's not like all of a sudden companies are gonna start closing and there's gonna be mass layoffs, right?
Rob, let's take a look. Not to cut you off, but let's take a look at
anything important, anyways.
Yeah, you're right. Let's take a look at the last time. So these are Bollinger Bands, right? They measure volatility and future volatility, right? Anytime you see these bands constrict, it is a signification or a signification.
Signification. Problemination.
I feel like George Bush. We must brainificate. It signifies a big move is coming. And then the question that becomes, you dig into the time frames. Okay, well, which way is this thing going to break? Well, we can just look at historic. I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen, but the last time Bitcoin got into some sort of medium-term consolidation, and this lasted around 7 days and 8 hours. And let's take a peek how this one has lasted so far. We're on 7 days and 16 hours. So pretty much right on par. Very similar setup. And I'll get rid of these in a second so the chart looks clear. Chop, chop, chop. Constricted bands. And then what does Bitcoin do? Bitcoin moves to the upside around 12%. What are we seeing? Chop, chop, chop. Bands are tight. And what is Bitcoin going to do? It looked like it was about to break to the downside. But we're seeing a little bit of a relief rally from BTC.
That's what I was saying. It seemed like at this time in the market that the Bitcoin was going to flip either direction, right? We're going to sell off and kind of head back down to that 90K, or we're going to rally. And, you know, my sentiment was we're going to rally, but then in comes, you know, the traditional markets with a negative day, negative headlines, and Bitcoin held strong, didn't break to the downside. That's why I came in. I was like, hey, man, I feel pretty good about this Bitcoin thing because, look, you know, if you would have told me, hey, at this point, bad headline, market sell off, I'd probably expect Bitcoin to retrace pretty heavy.
Just like 3 months ago when we had good news after good news, and at some point it wasn't moving the markets, and we were just like, yeah, no matter what the news, it's not going to move the market. I think it's that, but in the opposite. You know. Excuse me. Woo. You love when the spit goes down the wrong pipe. Okay. Now I forgot where I was at. Okay. Let us, so I just wanted to get into the markets real quick. Okay. So we kind of looked at the stock market. I want to take a gander at the crypto markets. So as mentioned, BTC I am kind of scared to look at this dominance chart. Let's take a peek at BTC dominance, and let's go to the daily, and it continues to grow. It looks like gold, right? The Bitcoin dominance chart looks like gold, just nothing but up and to the absolute right. It peaked out on today's candle wick 64.82%. And we know historically, my friends, we don't get an alt rally until Bitcoin dominance starts to tank. And well, we looked at a few yesterday versus Bitcoin. We looked at AVAX versus Bitcoin. That looks like crap. We looked at ETH versus Bitcoin. Obviously, that looked like crap. A lot versus Bitcoin looks like crap. And so the question then becomes, well, then when are the markets, the altcoin markets, going to rally? And this is a total 3 chart. This is all altcoins minus, or all cryptocurrencies minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. We had a breakout retest, but we haven't had any, I guess you could say, follow through on the breakout and the retest move above. We did get a little bit of a rally off of this bounce here of around 13%, so not bad. But most of this was driven by AI, which we'll get into here in a second. But Rob, you know, we talk about Bitcoin to 100K by Friday. If the macro conditions are bad and, you know, people are scared, they're pricing in 75% for a recession, we know Bitcoin can stand that test, right? But
yeah, I mean, we saw this similar theoretical move that we're talking about in Bitcoin happen with gold. And so we saw the U.S. markets pulling back. We saw the negative headlines, and yet gold went and printed new all-time high. And why? Why did gold print those all-time high? Because people are a little fearful of monetary conditions. They're fearful of perhaps more inflation, price shocks. Because with tariffs, you know, you see that, hey, like certain products are going to be more expensive. Now you can sit here and say, hey, look, people are going to shift their spending to U.S.-based product. You can get whatever you want to, however you want to dress that up. But at the end of the day, there's no argument here that certain items will be more expensive. And so some people just say, hey, look, that's going to equate to inflation. And so there's a percentage of people, investors, that are moving money over to assets like gold to protect against inflation and monetary policy. How can you not throw Bitcoin in that conversation? Gold's already rallied. I think that if you see the U.S. markets pull back, I mean, I don't know. I think that you could still see that 100K Bitcoin by the end of the week, even if
I know
sentiment.
But I wanted your thoughts on altcoins. Like, how do altcoins fare?
But that's what I'm saying is that with Bitcoin rally, also alts go as well, and so you can't have one without the other. At least not at this current stage. Now we could be in a spot where, hey, Bitcoin will get to 150, 200,000, and it can consolidate, it can pull back, and altcoins can keep running. That's what you see in an altcoin season. That's exactly what you're preferencing, is that you need Bitcoin to pull back and alts to rally. But that ain't happening just yet. I mean, unless you're in a different camp there, David. I think that what you're going to see is Bitcoin crack 105, 110, 120,000. And then from that point, catapult or drag the alts with it, slingshot it above. So,
okay, so I just like, historically, altcoin rallies have been off the backs of retail, right? And so what do we always say is retail's broke, yada, yada, yada. Okay, we're not going to get into that. And so whose money is going to move the markets? It's going to be the money that's been moving the markets thus far. There's only so much sloshing around, right? People lost a lot of money on the Libra coin. They lost a lot of money on Trump. People getting scammed, getting into rug pulls, yada, yada. Okay, there's some money there from the crypto native people. But you need fresh capital for fresh all-time highs. It's just a simple matter of the fact. And so whose money is going to be, whose money is that's going to be coming in to push some of these altcoins into all-time highs? Hey, look at the ones that have been buying. And it's institutions, it's VC funds, it's hedge funds, it's Wall Street. And I'm sorry, but Wall Street's probably not buying SHIB. Wall Street's probably not buying Pepe. Wall Street is probably buying infrastructure, Chainlink, RWAs, Ondo, AI, Bittensor, right? So these are the things, and that's why we've always said this cycle is definitely different. It's become a joke. It's different this time, bro. It really is. And just look at the numbers, look at the stats, and look at the facts. It is what it is. It's new money, but it's different money. And so where's that money going? That's where you want to be. You want to front run those people. And so if you've been watching our show, I find it hard to believe that at least some of your portfolio is still not in the green. Bittensor, still up from 2 weeks ago. Virtual's Protocol, up 3x from 2 weeks ago. And I can keep going on. Rob was hounding on Akash Network. Pull up Akash on CoinMarketCap. I believe it's one of the best gainers on the day.
And I was looking at that thing yesterday, and it was still underperforming yesterday, still outside the top 100. And so, Akash, where are you at? Number 127, up 33%.
Look at the 24-hour. It's up 20%.
Dude,
this is something where
and it was clear as day, dude. And we keep talking about this. I'm like, hey, once a sector runs, usually the big boys run first, smaller caps follow, right? Or they all rally at the same time. But when you see that the big boys run and the smalls don't, then hey, it's probably going to come. As long as it's not just a one and done candle, the other ones will catch up. That's why I give you these lower market cap plays on gaming as well, because I know when gaming is going to come around, and like it or not, you can sit here. Is Akash the best AI play? I don't know, probably not. But I know that if AI rallies, it's going to bring the little guys with it. And Akash ain't even that little of a guy. It's still 151 million by market cap, but still, can it 10x from here? Absolutely. I mean, like, look at the historical chart on this thing, and then tell me this thing can't 10x. I mean, it was at $7, which it's at $1.50 right now. And yesterday when we were talking to you about it, it was at less than $1 2 days ago. And it was back in December at $5, basically at $6. And so you got an easy 5-6x here if AI plays out. All you had to do was just wait for AI to pump. And we saw AI break out. This one didn't pump. I'm like, hey, pay attention. Let's go. Let's make some money, dude.
And then on, this was one of the few altcoins that, on the trading show, because, I look at fundamental and technicals. This one was oversold on like every time frame, especially on the higher time frame. And you guys know, unless a project goes to zero, which we never believed the cost was going to zero, there's too much there, that eventually it was going to revert back. It was going to revert back. It wasn't going to be, 20 on the RSI for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. At some point it was going to turn, and you're seeing it's up 20% on the day. Big shout out to Muhammad. Said Bitcoin to 25K in play, then a log candle to 150, 370 guaranteed. Interesting. Also said ICP to 5K. Let's clear $5 first so we can start talking about 5K. Speaking of trading and numbers, you got a Cardano video coming to you later today. And in that video, I entered into an ADA trade live. And so if you want to know why and what I was looking at, you're going to have to watch the Cardano video, which drops later today. And so we got in at 67.55 cents. And we are currently up 10%, $100. No, that's like 3 HDMI cables, Rob. You want me to cash this out now, buddy? Or you want me to try to go for the SDI cables?
Ooh. You know, they have new optic cables now.
Or the new optic
fiber optic HDMI cables. It's the game changer, bro.
Yeah. Also, we're using Buy DeFi. And so if you're in the US, this is an amazing platform. You don't got to worry about VPN or KYC. And so if you don't have an account, join an account. And then once you create an account, jump into our Discord, click on Get VVIP Trading Access, and then you'll be in our special trading Discord. We'll get scalp, swing, and our trades as well. So a bunch of signals, market updates. It's great, and it's free to you. You don't got to pay us anything. Okay. Also on Cardano, then we'll move on. Massive, massive shout out and congratulations to my favorite meme coin community, which is Snake. Today, the snake turns 2, Rob. In the year of the snake, second year of snakes. So shout out to the Snake community. You guys know I'm a big Snake fan. I also hold a lot of Snake. Love me some Snake. Love the community. Amazing people. We've hung out with a lot of them. Shout out to K-Dog. He was a beast of a poker player. Okay. With that being said, let's get into the title of today's show, which is AI cryptos. Okay. So AI crypto, you guys know how bullish I've been on the artificial intelligence sector and cryptocurrency, and everything started rallying about 3 days ago. Well, we're seeing a little bit of a cool off, which if you've identified the top projects, and if you watched yesterday's trading show, I told you for virtuals, wait for $1.22. I don't know if we'll get there as virtuals is bouncing back, but I'm going to give you some ecosystem plays. And Rob, I don't know if you have one or two favorite AI cryptocurrencies that you want to talk about, but I'll start. So let's start here. Virtual reclaims top 100 spot after 150% weekly rally, leads the AI agent sector rally. The move coincides with an uptick in revenue generated by virtual AI agents, which raked in a little over $120,000 on April 28th, which is the highest daily revenue since February 6th. The rally follows a project unveiling a new fee structure on March 29th, with agent creators now receiving 70% of protocol trading fees. That was just one part of why Virtuals is gaining. The other part is this: Genesis launches. If you're part of our Patreon Insider or God Mode tier, you got a video 2 days ago, a step-by-step tutorial on how to participate in these Genesis launches. And every single one of them that has launched that wasn't deemed a failure or a rug pull by the team has at least, I believe that number is 6x. At least 6x. So you essentially become the sniper. And so I'm going to highlight a few projects, and I'm going to talk about which one of these that I'm going to be participating in, and hopefully looking at 10 or 15x my virtual bag. So the first AI token I'm going to mention is built on a Bittensor subnet, which is DKing. You guys know how bullish I am on this project. This thing literally watches live soccer games and finds arbitrage opportunities in the betting markets. And it has it's I can go on all day about this. The team is like top-notch, phenomenal. They got over 7,000 quants that are working on this project, and their terminal just went live. And so I think this is massively undervalued at $4 million. The other one is YNE, another great team. And this one is very unique. It fits into that AI agent, decentralized science kind of, niche, so to say. And so this has garnered some attention from people outside of crypto. I believe Reid Hoffman tweeted about this thing. So what this essentially does is this AI agent goes in and sifts through research papers, whether they're medical or whatever, finds wrong information or something that could have affected a denial or approval, sends that report to the company or the CEO, and they can use that. And so they've already had a few success cases, and that is valued at $4.8 million. I believe that is also very undervalued. And the other one is a Virtuals ecosystem play. This is Seraph. What's unique about Seraph? It's on Virtuals, but it also leverages Bittensor subnets. And so those are my three. And then for the one that I will be participating in on the Genesis launch is Bowls. This goes live in 20 hours. And again, if you're part of Patreon, you'll know exactly how to do this if you have the Virgin points. If you don't, you know exactly how to get those points. But this one is fairly unique. So it's the first autonomous arbitrage AI across prediction markets. It scans, detects, and executes risk-free trades 24/7, compounding profits while burning the bull supply. And so I will be participating in this. I think I have 3 different wallets with Virgin points, and so I think all 3 are going to have some access to this. So that is what I'm most bullish on. And obviously, Bittensor, Virtual Protocol, the ecosystem token. And so, but as far as some gems, some micro caps, those are my favorites. Rob, what about you, my friend?
Okay, awesome. I'm not quite as deep down the rabbit hole as you are on AI. I kind of just stick to the layer ones and not too much into the AI agents. So, I mean, for me, I have a pretty simple playbook. And so, if you want just a little exposure and don't want to participate in ecosystems, just getting the layer ones is kind of my strategy. And then if you want to go deep down into AI and play around with all of its wonders,
that's definitely the most risk-averse way to go.
Yeah,
my way is definitely riskier.
Yeah, but you've navigated it pretty successfully and made a crap ton of money as well. And so you've also lost some money, but you've netted a lot more money than you've lost. So hats off to you. And so for me, I still will ride the Akash wave. I mean, I don't think that you've missed this by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, if you look just on the 24 hours, it was down to $1.27. It's at $1.50, so it's absolutely exploding right now. On the 1 week, you see up from $1.20. We're briefly, and then on the 1 month, it was at sub $1, so it's at $1.50. So you had a 50% rise, than you had just about 3-4 weeks ago, or 2-3 weeks ago. And then also, if you take a look, there is one that I've kind of given some crap to, but you can't really dismiss, or at least not in my opinion, is Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. Now, it's a word salad. It's a mouthful. It's not the
Kamala coin.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it is a project that has been spearheaded by 3 of the leading AI companies. You got SingularityNet, you got Ocean Protocol, and then also Fetch. And those are up until this merger, 3 of the 4 biggest names, or 3 of the 5 biggest names in AI. And so we know that the team there is about as stacked as possible. And, they're still, a large player. There's top 50 coin, or they're right at number 50 on the market cap list. But with that said, at number 50 on the market cap list with a $1.7 billion market cap, I just find it hard to believe this thing would not rally during an AI pump, right?
Fetch would, if they didn't do this right before the AI agent narrative took off, Fetch would have been just massive. I would have had a massive pump. It was just bad timing, man.
Yeah, but the tech is still there, the team is still there, the roadmap's still there, and they got more resources than the competitors.
Oh yeah, fundamentally, it's
and so it's hard to write them off. And so if you're gonna get a pump out of AI, this seems like a no-brainer to me. Now, the trend is to the opposite direction, though, right? I mean, you compare it to Bitcoin, and you can do this with a lot, but you compare it to Bitcoin on the year, you can see that you just. On the blue here is the Fetch, aka ASI token, BTC on the top, and it's just like bleeding.
You said, though,
but look, if you look here on the 1 month, you can see that against Bitcoin, it has flipped.
95% of coins would look like that. So to be fair to ASI, right?
Yeah,
90% look like that on the 1 year.
But here's a reversal here on the short term, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just a small little blip. It's a big reversal. So you can see here, against Bitcoin on the 1 week, really see that the narrative of AI is pumping, and it's pumping the Fetch or ASI token as well. So I tell you, I just got those 2. And this is a prime example of my exposure to AI. One less risky, and then one a little bit more risk further down the market cap list outside the top 100. That's pretty much my AI exposure. I do respect your Bittensor calls, though. I think you're probably on to one. I don't have an exposure to Bittensor, but I know you're probably gonna smack a home run with that one.
Oh yeah, I am so bullish on Bittensor. It's Eddie texts me. He's like, hey, I love Eddie. He's like, hey, what's like an undervalued coin right now? My Bittensor. And I only say that because I know he watches our show. So Eddie, I love you. Shout out to you. Hopefully you bought some at under $300. Pretty nice gains. I just want to show an Akash chart real quick, Rob, and then we'll move on to some other news.
Eddie said he was coming in here last Monday that passed.
He didn't.
He wasn't here. Yeah.
Fucking Eddie. All right, Eddie.
He pinky promised me too.
With the kiss on the thumb and connecting?
No, I didn't see him in person. It was a text pinky promise.
Text pinky promise. Okay.
Yeah. Can we clip this out? What is the time here? Timestamp.
11:05.
11:05. Let's clip this out and send it to Eddie later.
Yeah. Or you can just text him.
No.
Okay. This is the Akash chart on the daily. So a couple of things happen. One, $1.54 has been breached, which is great, but just to it's kind of throw it out there, there's still 6 hours left till this candle closes. Now, a couple things. One, we stay above this $1.54 resistance level. We close above and we kind of consolidate, or we get a retrace, close above the next candle, retest, catch it at support, and we move to the upside. Or price closes below this $1.54, and then we come into a high time frame, very bullish cup and handle pattern that could take us back into our cloud, and then eventually should break to the upside. And that move, if this does play out, like I have it beautifully drawn here with my beautiful, I don't know. And so depending on where this thing breaks out, this could be a move back up to that $1.92 to $2 level. But again, it remains to be seen. But Akash looks pretty good, man. Looks pretty good. It's been beaten to death over the last month and a half, 2 months. It's come to life, and it's off the back of artificial intelligence. That being said, Rob, do you have any names or people you'd like to harass?
No, not too many new faces. We did see a few. We got Laser Pew Pew. We got Mr. Biggs, and then Petro, and a few other new names.
Then we got a super chat from Kilganon. Kilganon
and
said,
Arco 81 as well. So to all of you, hola, welcome.
I used to pump Arco gas, and I started noticing a trend. I would run out of gas a lot sooner, driving the same amount of miles, and so I stopped pumping Arco gas.
Sure.
Thank you. So we had a super chat from Kilganon. Said Pakistan declaring war negatively affect markets. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a political science expert. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't think it would be. I don't think it would have that big of an impact. And not to say that's not a serious situation, but that's just my thoughts. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah. Want to chime in on that at all?
I don't know what the hell you said, bro.
Perfect. We want to give a big thank you. Today's show is brought to you by stake.us. And while if you want to earn a free $1 of stake cash every single day, literally just logging in, and well, that's $30 a month. That's $360 a year. For some of you, that could be one less car payment a year. For others, that could be 6 SDI cables if you run a production studio like we do here at SINCITY Studios, or if your name is Rob Peter Klein. All jokes aside, use our link, sign up, support the sponsors that support this channel. That is how we do all the badass stuff we do here. So big shout out to Stake. Rob, I want to ask you, there was a couple people that threw ICP in there, and we were talking about AI, and I feel like the very beginning of the AI move, this was back in October of last year, ICP was at the forefront of every conversation. It was the first smart contract platform that a full LLM ran on. And so it's kind of dropped off a little bit. It's other protocols have come about. Other L1s have kind of leapfrogged them in the narrative race. What are your thoughts on ICP specifically related to artificial intelligence? You still consider it a leader?
Was it a leader before? It's all roadmap. It's all roadmap. Was it a leader before? No, it wasn't. It's all tech. It's all tech. Here's the thing. Even my favorite projects. I'm not throwing shade on them. I'm just saying that you can promise, deliver, build, and have the coolest utility and the best functionality, but people aren't using it, building it, and the ecosystems aren't growing from it. Well, it doesn't mean shit. Really don't. You can have the best motor engine in the world. You can have a V12, inline with an electric motor on the back end, and it's all Italian made, like my man Rocco over here. It's just gonna be the best parts ever. But if you don't drop it in a car with a chassis, what does it do? If nobody can drive it, you can be like, that's a nice motor, but it's just sitting on a little engine on an engine drop, You got to do something with it, man. Put it in a car. Have somebody sit in it. Have somebody drive it. Sell it. Have it at the nice car lots. But here's the thing, man. Like, you can have the coolest smart contracts. You can have the most badass throughput. You can have the most horsepower ever. You can have the greatest acceleration, the torque, the handmade freaking like custom like leather interior. You can have it all. But if people ain't driving the damn thing, who cares? And so to answer your question, ICP was never a king of AI. Ever. Never was. They never were a king of AI. Now, let me slow down because I like ICP. ICP is got a badass AI infrastructure there. Now, why aren't people using it? That's more the question for me. Why aren't people adopting it? Why aren't you people using the smart contract canisters and leveraging the AI capabilities that they have? I don't know. Maybe it's a marketing thing. Maybe it's
you know what it comes down to? I think it's simple, Rob. I think it's the dApps. Everything that's been fundamentally driven has been with dApps. Virtual protocol.
And you can say the same thing with there's plenty of our favorite projects. There's Cardano, who has a shorter list of dApps than some of the competitors. And for that reason, we've seen less building. And it's a lot more speculative. Just the reality of it. But, it's something that I believe in the future of it, so I personally hold it. It's the same for ICP. I believe in their future, just at this current moment. Price is not rallying. But at the same time, neither is development from the community. Neither is user base. I'm sure it has some kind of long-term, steady, sustained growth, little over little, but we're not seeing the explosive growth, which you're not seeing the explosive growth in the price. And it's just the reality of it, man. Now, it doesn't mean not everything has to go up immediately, green candles all day long, all year long, for you to have an investment in it. Because if you're buying things that are green candled all day, then you're probably buying the top, right? And so, you need to get allocation to projects like this if you want to swing for home runs, or just buy Bitcoin and stay boring, make money over time. It's a tried and true method, but I do believe in ICP, man. I do think that they'll come around, but the tech's there. They just got to figure out how to get devs in their building using it, they
need the dApps, bro.
But this is a common story. I mean, like you can look at Theta, for example, and they got the tech there for AI infrastructure as far as compute power rendering, and it's just not being used. And so, is it fault of their own? Is it the market? Is there inefficiency in their style of blockchain usage compared to the competitors? And I know we talked about this before when it came to AI agents, and it was a while ago we had a conversation. I said, well, why do I have to pay for a token and pay for fees to use an AI agent created by a blockchain? Instead, just use a free AI model that that's already been created by a large company like ChatGPT or Grok or Bard. Like, why would you not? Like, I still don't see a compelling argument to why you should use that one versus this one.
I mean, it's two different things. I mean, it depends on what you're comparing it to, but AI agents can do way more than what a ChatGPT can do.
No, it's the same technology. You can just spin up. AI agents in themselves are small nodes of AI, and those nodes are powered by transactions, and they're powered by the coins behind them. Now you can have a free model that doesn't need to pay, that you can have APIs spin off of ChatGPT. You can have 1,000 APIs. You use APIs all the time. Those are called APIs to us. In the crypto world, those are called AI agents. It's the same thing. I start a company. I use a ChatGPT plugin. That plugin is specific for this thing. I say, hey, look, ChatGPT, I need a plugin. All I'm using your services for is scanning through medical documents. That's it. Scan through all these medical documents. It's a plugin. It's an API. It's the same as an AI agent. There's no difference, except for the AI agent has a fun little name and it has a token behind it. And that's it.
Fun little name, huh?
I mean,
I just have just fun.
but I'm just telling you, like, it's not even debatable that what an AI agent does, the big models do. They're just API'd out to it, to a specific thing. I use AI all the time. There's API plugins for Photoshop. Hey, remove this person from the background. You could say, oh, this is an erase artist API. Or no, this is an erase artist agent. All it does is erase stuff from Photoshop. It's amazing. It's an agent. He knows Photoshop. He's a Photoshop expert. He just goes in and erases stuff from Photoshop. He's an amazing agent. No, it's just a plugin. It's a smart contract plugin. I mean, or not a smart. It's a plugin, an API for the large language model. That's all it is, bro. I'm telling you, man. I'm
not laughing at you. I'm not laughing.
I'm not, but here's the marketing. The marketing is you take a plugin from an AI model, and then you put it on the blockchain. You give it a name and put a token behind it, and you can sell it as an AI agent. And when the what's the guy behind NVIDIA? What's his
Jensen Huang.
Jensen Huang, yeah.
You know
when he talked about AI agents, he wasn't talking about blockchain. He was talking about the capabilities of AI models and the fact that you can API these guys out, and each company can have a specific use case utility.
You're wrong. He was talking about Virtual's protocol agent.
But here's the thing. AI agents, it's a beautiful marketing dynamic. It has real case of use case and utility. And ain't nobody going to buy a crypto API plugin. It's just the reality of it. So you market it and you say, hey, we got this AI agent.
What do you mean no one's going to buy?
If it's a marketing thing.
So
it's a branding. It sounds better. Would you, it's easier sell to be like, hey man, I got this AI agent. This guy, he'll like lock my house up. He'll let me, he knows when I'm like almost home. He'll unset the alarm and turn the AC up. He's crazy, man. He's my little home agent, man. You can just say, hey man, I got the subscription to ChatGPT and I have it plugged into my web browser. And from there, once it detects my GPS, the API will, it's just a better sell. I got an agent, bro. I got a guy. I got a dude. It's an agent.
You would have a dude
fully
agent.
Automated. He takes control of me. Takes control of my house.
You would have a dude agent take control of you. You weirdo.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Let's move off this. I'm not gonna I'm not like a computer coder and so I'm not gonna say I don't know how the exact backend works. I just know. I don't know digital asset DJ. Maybe that was your comment I laughed at, but I just don't know. I know what AI agents are. I know what they do, and I know the reason behind the tokens of it, and I know that people will pay for information. Just like with ChatGPT, you got to pay $20 a month. And sure, if you go through the process, you can probably create your own agent. Cool. But again, I'm not a pro in that side, so I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I am. But I'm bullish on AI agents. They're gonna make me a lot of money, and hopefully they make you a lot of money as well. Let's talk about this. Shout out to Eric Balkunas from Bloomberg. Posted this up-to-date odds approval and deadlines. And so the first one, which they gave a 90% odds of approval in 2025, is the basket/index ETF. And the final SEC deadline is July 2nd. So that could be the first shoe to drop. They have Litecoin at 90% this year. They have Solana at 90% this year. They have XRP at 85% this year. And then this one is a October 17th deadline of this year. And then going into Doge, that has an 80% chance. Cardano, Polkadot, they put it at a 75% chance. HBAR 80% and AVAX 75%. With the furthest one out as far as the final deadline being Avalanche on December 12th of this year, with the first filing being on the 28th. But it looks like, if you take a look, which ETF filing has the most companies behind it? It's Solana and XRP. XRP is number one. Grayscale, Bitwise, Canary, 21 shares, WisdomTree, CoinShares, and Franklin. And then you have a few other ones, but Grayscale's in every single one of these. And so I think I'm kind of on Rob's side here. Once one shoe drops, I think the rest will. I don't know if it'll be all at the same time. But this is just a very helpful visual.
They're all kind of in that same time period, though. You know, it's
well, for the
makes
most
sense.
part.
Yeah,
You have a July one.
There's not a giant gap, right? So
Well, the July
within-
one is, I mean, July to October is 3 months relative to what we're seeing. It's a big
but
gap.
that one's not. That's not the individual ones. You know, that's an
that's
index. So
Basket.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Litecoin followed by Solana a week later, and followed by XRP a week after that, followed by Dogecoin the same time. A week after that, you got Cardano. And so it makes so much sense that these are just going to launch one after another, and you got about a week break between all of them, except for XRP and Doge will go simultaneous. And so, yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. It just, that is the timeline. And, you know, it's funny because we historically have looked at the cycle of where we're at, and we always say that, hey, in October, November, December, you should see the top of the market. I don't subscribe to that being the top, but I do think that it's going to be very positive price action on the macro for crypto. I do think that we do set new all-time highs at this part of the year, towards the October, November time of the year. And I think it continues on to 2026. And it's just telling you, like, right now is accumulation time, right? It's probably you probably got the last sub $100,000 days here in the near future. Maybe you only have 3 or 4 days before you break 100K and stay above, or maybe it's 3 or 4 months. But either way, it ain't gonna come October when all these go live, post halving, U.S. buying. This is all lining up to be a glorious winter, bro. A glorious winter.
Glorious. Yeah, you know, interesting. XRP is the only one that doesn't have a CFTC regulated futures. Well, it's going to, but we obviously know because of the lawsuit. But everyone else does, and so could that be a sticking point for the SEC to not approve them? I don't think so. But that there, you know, there's always that you never know. I do want to talk a little bit about some RWA. So this article here from Sony, or from the block, talking about Sony's Sonium. They couldn't come up with a better name. You want to talk about bad names? Sonium? What is that? Terrible. Also, before I forget, because I saw Ashley James, and speaking of Ashley, we have Ashley joining us in studio tomorrow, and we're rolling out the first week. That's nothing to do with the article on your screen. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked, but I'm going to forget if I don't say it now. Crypto Confessions tomorrow. So if you haven't done so, make sure to send your Crypto Confessions to cryptoconfessions00@gmail.com. And then Ashley will pick a couple. She says she's gotten a lot so far. We haven't seen any, but it'll be fun. We'll react to those live as she reads them on the show tomorrow. So if you haven't done that, make sure to do that. All right, back to the article. Sonium blockchain and Plume partner to offer access to RWA products. Now, Plume is a project that's picking up a lot of hype, a lot of steam, a lot of excitement. And so on here, Sony's blockchain and Plume network have partnered to offer users access to asset-backed yield products such as yield from tokenized U.S. treasuries and private credit. Plume, which is a modular EVM-compatible Layer 2 network, specializes in tokenizing real-world assets. Its testnet has over 18 million wallets, the firm said earlier this month. This is their website. They branded themselves as RWA-Fi. So bringing RWA into the world of decentralized finance. And so the numbers are there, and you take a look at their ecosystem. Some big names here. Ondo, the biggest one in my personal opinion. You also have Centrifuges there, and then Mercado Bitcoin, which is an exchange, I believe, out in Brazil. Correct me if I'm wrong, Robin. Paxos, which we know out of New York, Layer 0. So they got big names behind it, or at least part of their ecosystem. And when you take a look at the token and its value, it's currently valued at $387 million, with the only problem I would say, if I were to kind of nitpick, would be their circulating to total supply ratio, which is only 20%. But again, $387 million in value, is that undervalued for RWA? You take a look at the 1-year chart. It did top out at around 23 cents. It's currently at 19 cents. So not too far off from essentially all-time highs. But if you remove all-time highs and you only take a look at the value and how much you value RWA and the DeFi
how did you get to this one? How did
Plume?
you find this?
Well, I've known about Plume, but
So I mean,
okay.
Okay, I missed the Plume partner. I just saw
Yeah.
Sony and blockchain. Okay,
yeah, they partnered with Plume, and so now they got Ondo, Centrifuge, they've got Mercado Bitcoin. You can add Sony to that list. So they're picking up some. Again, they're picking up some hype here. RWA, we're bullish on. I think both of us are bullish on RWA, and then obviously DeFi. And do you think this is an idea that could work? RWA-fi, where it's traded. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is just kind of a marketing play, or do you think this maybe has some legs to it?
No, RWA-fi. I feel like
Ruafi.
I feel like that's almost
We
like
come up with really cool names.
It's I feel like it's just NFTs. Right?
It's not NFT-fi. It's RWA-fi.
It's the same. It's like the same tech,
Different
just
letters.
repackaged up.
Different letters.
I know it is, but
So you're not bullish?
it's NFTs, dude.
No, it's not. It's
If Sony is offering a digital
it is a
product,
non-fungible NFTs. These are fungible. These are FTs.
are they going to have real world?
Yeah,
Product?
they're going to
Like
be
what?
tokenized and you can trade them.
Sony
and
doesn't
stuff.
even have real world products besides badass cameras. But
And what? Sony doesn't have products. Are you high?
other than badass cameras, give me 5 Sony products you got at home.
LG.
Sony.
Sony.
LG. What's LG? Or LG.
LG.
I was like,
Sony does.
it's like give me 5 models of different Fords. You're like, there's a Camaro, there's a there's a Lamborghini.
PlayStation. Sony TVs. The Sony
Nobody
car.
owns Sony TVs anymore.
Says who?
Says him.
Go to Costco.
I have a PlayStation.
Point out the Sony TVs.
I got
Okay,
PlayStation.
Fair
New
enough.
Sony
I got
cars.
multiple PlayStations.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
PlayStation and
Chat, I need you to help me out here. All right, I'm drawing a blank here.
Sony cars.
Products that Sony has. Rocco,
Electric cars.
electric cars. Thank you. The TV,
There's a lot of those driving
PlayStation,
around.
Lens.
cameras, blockchain now.
Now,
What else do
here's
you
the
want,
thing.
dude?
I'm very plugged into tech. I won't go down a rabbit hole,
Obviously,
but
you're not,
I'm
because
just
you
but
don't
I'm
know
just-
that Sony has.
I'm just
TV.
telling you that Sony used to dominate the physical electronic products, right? They had the Sony Walkman, they had the Discman after
Thank you.
that.
That's what I'm saying, see?
They had the stranglehold on everything, right?
Yeah.
They were behind this the major investor and distributor behind the CDs, DVDs,
Stereos, speakers,
stereos,
cameras,
yeah.
TVs. Thank you guys. Thank you, B.
Dude, yeah, but
Billy.
I'm just letting you know they are falling behind on a lot. They've lost a lot of
Sony Pictures movie.
they've lost a lot of their market dominance. And
Columbia
their physical products, PlayStations and cameras, everything else is minute now.
Dude.
They are
Bro, Honda, Columbia Pictures.
Did you say Honda?
Yeah, look at that screen.
Oh.
Rocco's giving me some info here. Thanks, Rocco.
Honda, yes, Honda.
Gaming, entertainment, financial services. Sony's doing yeah. Anyways, what were we talking about?
Battery. Mobile
What are they
phone.
going to tokenize? That's what I was saying.
Real world assets, dude.
Oh, your PlayStation?
Yeah. If I have to, I will.
So what I was saying is that Sony probably has more of a digital footprint at this point in time than they do a physical. And so if they're going to use RWAs and blockchain, I feel like they would probably do digital things, which is more in the line of NFTs. Okay. I mean, sure. Go buy some Sonium, bro. Buy
I'm not buying Sonium.
Why not?
You sprinkle a little Sonium on top of it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what I'm buying, all right? Anyways.
You make me laugh. Thank you, Mohammed.
Yeah. I think that's it, man. We're done.
Mm.
We are done. We're done. We want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, guys, don't wait till the last minute to buy your Bitcoin ticket because as people start buying, they'll probably raise the prices a lot faster. And so that link's in the description.
Support the brands that support us. You know, go. First of all, come hang out with us. I mean, you can get off work. I know there's time for you to request off work. We are less than a month away. We're the 27th when it kicks off. So it's right around the corner. We're 3.5 weeks out. Take a couple of days off. Come down Thursday, Friday, which is the 28th and 29th. Come down, hang out with us in Las Vegas. You reach out to us, especially if you use our code and you let us know you bought some tickets. We'll rendezvous. We'll get together.
We can rendezvous at the bar around 2.
There we go. I was missing this today.
Thank you.
It was a
Thank
it
You're
was a
gonna
song.
be saved
It
by
was
the
a very
bell.
famous song.
You had to
Rocco.
do it at the very
Just
end.
because all you listen to is
know what?
Italian opera music
That's
doesn't
that.
mean you don't know the hip hop.
Finger
like I do.
tornado.
Italian
That's
opera
it right
music.
there.
Guys, we all thank you so.
Stereotypes.
It's my outro. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Just use the American stereotype.
We all want to thank you very much for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then.
All these stereotypes. Opera, breaking balls. I don't understand.
Big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya. To the
Thank you for the
moon
super
and
chat.
to the soul.